while we're waiting for Gabby, how's life? How's everything? I saw you guys went to some really cool. I was looking on Instagram. You went to some really cool like festival or something.
Yeah, it was a cool music fest down in Ocean City, Maryland. It was called Ocean's Calling, and
Oh,
I
sweet.
guess the same people who do like Boston Calling and other festivals throughout the country. I think like Extra Innings they do too, but they put it on. But it's like literally on the boardwalk, and the lineup was pretty stacked. It was good for us
Was
elder
it?
millennials for sure. So like I
That's
mean
cool.
Green Day and Fall Out Boy and
Really?
Good Charlotte, and Noah Khan. Yeah, it was stacked.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, like Blind Melon, like the most random, like a ton of people, like
Like major. Yeah,
yeah, like
major.
Michelle Branch. I'm trying to think of Weezer was there.
Oh shit.
Train. Yeah, it was stacked. Like when I saw the lineup, like okay, that's worth like the 8 hour drive down there. Like I'll go do that. So
That's awesome.
yeah, it was really sick. Hello.
That's cool.
Hello.
Hey Gabby, this is Max. Max Gabby. I did the thing that we always do where I just let it be recording while we're being awkward and weird and we'll just start it at some point.
Sweet.
Is that cool? Yeah. Oh,
Yes.
Gabby's got Spider-Man out. I love that Spider-Man's joining us today because sometimes Spider-Man gets covered up and
Yeah.
doesn't make an appearance.
I didn't have
but
enough time to do that today.
That's okay. I thought what would be cool in so many ways, and Gabby and I talked about this, and Max, you and I went back and forth about it too. I know very little bit of your journey and your story through Rachel, but yeah, like you said, I think I think it would be really important, and I think it would help a lot of people really connect and not feel like alone or that they're going through something that only they are going through to hear your story, if that's cool with you. But I mean,
I think it's a great opportunity. It's one of those where, not to give too much away, make sure the format's good, but yeah, no, it's super interesting because in a nutshell, it was one of those where I was kind of watching your clips to kind of see your dialogue and just understand. My mom early detected, but my awareness to actually that, I guess, label condition was recent. So it was more of just like, oh, like I just went on the short bus to do speech therapy and realized like, oh, it's way more convoluted than that.
oh
Everyone else
wow,
knew, but not me. And I was like, oh, and it was just like
okay,
an eye opener of like, this explains this explains that. And I think that's kind of the interesting angle. And then I think what's going to be interesting, and I'll try to like weed through our respective people, but in my side, there's like a family dynamic, right?
yeah,
So like one family member, like my mom was more like proactive, and then like maybe the dad was more like not believing it. So I see the angle here.
sure,
So
yeah,
but I want to be transparent with it. I think I can
yeah.
do it in a nice way. So yeah, me and my business partner, we used this before when we did podcasting, and back like in 2020, there was sometimes it would have epic crashes. Has it gotten better for you guys? Or
And it's funny you say that because we also started using it way back then, and it was a very different version that didn't work really well, and also didn't have a lot of the cool new AI features that it has now. So we've not had any issues with it, Gabby. Right? It's been great.
Yeah, basically. I mean,
Yeah.
except for that, like the last one where I left for a minute. Remember?
Oh, but that was us. That
I
wasn't
don't know
like the
what it was.
technology.
Yeah, I don't know.
Oh,
Because
right,
it was
right.
like, I left.
Yeah.
You're like,
Yeah.
I,
You were gone.
I don't
Yeah,
know
but none of
anything
those
other
crashes,
than that.
Max, like
Yeah.
used to happen. Yeah, I remember those
It
too.
No, I'm
kept
talking about
recording. Like
that.
it stops
Yeah.
recording. Oh.
Yeah, no, it would like crash and
No.
you'd have to like start over. Oh, it was
Oh,
awful.
yeah, I've legit lost 2 podcasts before.
Yeah, same. We did the Outer Loop podcast for a year, and it was even then, which was like last year or the year before, it wasn't as cool a version as it is now, and I think now it works really well. What I love about it is the social media clips. It does those magic clips, all those TikTok and Instagram clips. It makes them for you.
Isn't that great?
It's amazing how much work that saves because we used to have to make those ourselves. Yeah.
Yep. Well, you probably know him for like your short form content. Like back when I was doing like some of the clips, and we had a little bit of a viral wave a couple years ago with our page. It was like we had to do the captions manually. It's like you type in a line,
Yeah.
you could just hit on CapCut like one button, and like, oh, it's flashy.
It's amazing. It's amazing.
That's been a game changer for me too. The captions.
Right?
Yeah.
Just
Huge.
the automatic captions. Yeah, it's huge.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Max, I think it's probably beneficial first though to hear like for everybody, I think for Gabby and everybody, like how do you and I know, like how do you wind up here right now with us? Like how do you and I know each other?
Yeah, I think that's a great point. So the connection is your spouse, Rachel, is my first cousin on my father's side. So
Cool.
It's interesting because obviously I think I've talked like kind of in passing here and there, and then obviously recently we had a family member pass, me and Rachel's grandfather, and we were able to connect. But I've always admired you guys from afar, right? Just with all you've done with Outer Loop and Humanity Project, and then tying into the TikTok, it was like one of those when I found out, like I saw it was so funny too because the connection is I just saw it as on my For You page, not in connecting dots, and I was like, wait, that's my cousin's husband. It's like that's too wild. It's like that happens sometimes, right? It's like
Yeah.
friends of friends are liking things, and then
Yeah.
but no, I think it's really cool. When I was younger, I moved around. I was kind of relating that early on, but I always had a connection like with Rachel and some of my older cousins in the family tree, like Jacqueline and Alicia, and and then as time went on, just between moving away, but also like some of the family having isolation vibes too, it was a little
Mm.
distant. And I always think I was envious of the family dynamic with both sides of my family, but especially the Emmons side.
Yeah.
And I kind of like it's interesting for me because I always like moved away that like I wish I may had the deeper connections, and not that it was
Mm.
anybody boxing me out. It
Sure.
was just guilt by association, just like the distance, and then other roads for whatever reason. So
Yeah.
it was interesting. So when that opportunity kind of came to talk about it and then know your journey
Mm.
and then kind of have that dot connect, and we'll dive into it more in the
Yeah.
last couple of years for myself. I'm like, wow, this seems like really like meant to be in a full circle.
That's that it's so interesting that you put it that way because I feel exactly the same way. The thing you said about the Emmett side, like Rachel's side of the family there, about feeling there's such a I'm very envious of the dynamic as well because before I met Rachel and met her family, I really didn't see family as a good thing. I didn't like have when people said family, I didn't like consider that like a good thing, right? Because of whatever my life was, right? And Gabby, I'm sure you have like some similar feelings there.
Yeah.
Yeah, but like when I met Rachel and her family, I was like, oh shit, like you guys like to hang out with each other, like, and you have like gatherings where everybody's like nice to each other and like is like accepting of everyone. So yeah, I could totally relate to that. And then yeah, I agree. I think the connecting through, which I think is a cool thing. Like Fred, Rachel's grandfather, recently passed away, and a good thing that came out of that. So many good things came out of that, like just seeing everybody and connecting. But it was just I think there was like something like the universe just going like, hey, now like let's connect to because Rachel had always talked very highly of you, but I didn't really ever get to know you before. And then we met and we were able to connect at the funeral. And then this comes up and it's like, yeah, it's kind of meant to be, right? It just, it really is. And I'm so grateful that, this has just been Gabby and I for like a bunch of weeks. And this is the first time we're having anyone else on. So it's like, it's so cool. It's so cool. It's like, of course this would happen this way, like you couldn't have seen it coming, but of course now that it's here.
Right.
That's sort of what we were talking about in the last episode when we were talking about you coming on.
That's so cool.
He told me a little bit about it, and I was like, "Oh my gosh, that sounds like it's meant to be!" And what a great first person to have come on the show.
It just means a lot. Yeah,
it does.
Yeah, no, and I'm excited. I think this is a good opportunity to kind of like discuss this, and I think for me, almost kind of it gives me a presence to make, like you said, impact others because I think a lot of different things in my journey. And you can kind of base it on maybe some of the family dynamic growing up for me, kind of helped, like it sheltered me in, and it tie it into my spectrum, right? And by the way, on any of this stuff, because one of the things I was trying to do is research, like I will try my best on terminology. If I say anything out of line, please let me know. I feel like I have a good pulse on it, but
it's all good. No, we're the same. We like, I think we're right where you are with. We try to do our best, and like, yeah. We're trying to help everyone, and if we get something wrong, we don't mean it. It's right. I think that's
it's all love, and for me, I'm like humor is the best medicine. So when people are like, "Oh, you did that," it's like, "Yeah, touch autism," like, but it's like in a fun way. Like I never
totally. And you know what? And Max, I know you know this too, and Gabby and I talked about this a bunch of times. But like, you're never gonna be able to please everyone. And with an account that's gotten as big as the husband account, you can. Gabby and I were talking about this recently. You get 95% positive comments, and then I'll say something some way, and then 10,000 people like say that I'm the worst person in the world. But it's you just gotta like let it roll off, and like it's all love, and we're just trying to be helpful. And if someone's got a real issue with anything we say, it's more a reflection of where they're at, and that's cool,
Right. I think a lot of times I think if you're being fair and comprehensive on anybody's opinion, right, you can find a difference between like, oh, it's just a POV versus malice intent,
Exactly. Right. All right, cool. So we understand, everybody hopefully listening and watching understands like how we all come to be here. So what's kind of cool for me really too is like, what's cool here is that I meet Gabby through the autistic husband account, because Gabby is following that account and then reaches out to me, and we meet through that. And then we have this instant connection and become good friends like really quickly, and then are like, we want to do something. I mean, really, Gabby's like, we got to do something, and like, let's do something. And then that's how the friend account begins, because Gabby's like, we got to do something together. And then it's so cool that then you start following that account just randomly, and then there's this connection, and it's like, it's so cool that, which you mentioned the Outer Loop and the Humanity Project work up front, and Gabby and I talk about this a lot too, because she's working on a lot of video and film stuff for us too, is that I see the Humanity Project work and what we're trying to do with this online community now very similarly. Like, here's a community that has some needs. How can we get in there and try to help everyone with those needs they have? It's really the same kind of work, and it's so cool that this has happened. It started with Rachel thinking I'm hilarious, which I'm not sure about that, but posting a video a long time ago of like me ranting about something. And then it's become this actual online community that's like helping each other. And it's just so cool.
It's crazy how something small like that can make such an impact nowadays if you have the right. That like have a community and amplify your voice that way.
It is, right? And I think, like you said, what the reason you were willing to do this is because it really does feel like we're having an impact, and we're helping, and not just helping others. When we talk about it a lot, we get just as much from doing the content as it sounds like people get from us, right?
I agree. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and it's so many messages and comments like, oh, thanks for making me feel like I'm not weird, or I'm not crazy, or I'm not alone, or this has been hard, but also like, it's helpful to hear those things, because I also, I'm not, just because we have X amount of followers doesn't mean I have it figured out. Like, I like to hear that too, so that I don't feel weird and alone. So it's cool that we're all like have the same intention here.
I finally feel that, because I remember we talked about that, and for you feeling like that on your channel, and now I'm getting a taste of it reading all the comments. So
yeah, it's interesting with like content. I guess I'll give a little background to the audience so I can kind of interject on the content stuff. I can see similarities. So recently, I'd say probably in the last like 5-6 years, I've been part of a brand I co-own called Wingman of the Year, and we started off as doing content through podcast, and then because of the name, we sort of felt like, hey, we should really hone into dating content. So I have it with my business partner, Hunter Werner, and he's kind of more the face. And then I would do some content with podcasting, but then we realized a lot of our short form interviews would do really well, and they kind of went viral on Instagram and TikTok. So I could see the parallels where it's like that, and then you just get all these different opinions and stuff. And we knew, like, for us, we obviously wanted to have a monetization piece with the business. So we're like, okay, well, short form, they're obviously there. And this is probably pre like the TikTok advertise. We're talking about 2022 when we had our kind of blow up. And so we are like, okay, let's go maybe more in the long form content and more in the YouTube space. So we've done like live dating shows that we filmed and like had audiences and stuff, and done different shows. Cool. And that's been really interesting and fun. And then from there, a lot of people love them, but then they're like, hey, I don't want to be on camera. And so, but I want you to be our wingman. So now we do a lot of speed dating events and live events. We probably have close to like, we're on the 100 or 125 in the last year.
What?
And through this
What?
experience, it's been super interesting to interact with people. And I think what could really be maybe brought on to this podcast today is we get a lot of people that have maybe different neurodivergencies, and you see the positives and negatives from that experience for them as a dater, or how other people perceive. And really, that's been kind of something of a mission through this whole journey for me. It's like, okay, like we're not just in like speed dating or dating. Like I've been saying lately, like to people, like we're in the connection business. And so for me, it's like, okay, how do you connect people and really interlock everything? And so it's really been interesting. So that's, I guess, a little background so I can kind of understand some of the content
That's very
pieces
cool.
and just
Wow.
have fresh people's opinion
Of
and
course.
stuff that you're experiencing for sure, Michael. And for you too, Gabby.
Yeah,
That's super cool.
Yeah, that's what
Isn't
you
that
do.
cool? Yeah, it's super cool.
Yeah, so I have like a 9 to 5 still, but for the business piece, yeah, we do. We have 6 different states we do speed dating in. I have different hosts. I have like probably like it's pretty crazy. Yeah, we just
That's
did
amazing.
our first event in Alabama of all places.
Oh my God.
Oh my gosh.
That's so cool, man. That's really cool.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy.
Yeah, it's all connection, right? Like we're all just looking to connect. And some of us, I think, I think the 3 of us probably would agree that the world that we live in, or maybe the part of the world we live in, maybe, that we find it maybe more challenging or just different. And there are challenges that we face in connecting that maybe others don't. And that's so interesting to look at it the way you're looking at it, though, doing that, because that is what it is, right? You're just trying to you're trying to help people make connections.
Right. You let them kind of carry the water on actually maybe taking it further, but we just give those opportunities. And I think a lot of times too nowadays, obviously I'm a tech head, but like a lot of what we have holds us back from maybe making those connections, and especially through like the pandemic and other things that isolated us.
Yeah.
And so it just sort of happened naturally. I think that's what's so weird about it is the original intent of what our goal was 5 years ago is so different than now. We kind of just let it, we like sort of ebbed and flowed and followed what people wanted, and then find a way to like find our voice and like help people through that process.
That's so smart. That's such a great way to approach it, right? Don't force it. Don't force the structure on it. Let the people, the community drive it.
Yep.
That's cool. That's super cool.
Yeah.
Isn't that awesome?
It's pretty interesting. And I think, and it's always a dynamic too, because maybe the tie into like the neurodivergent piece and may feel accepted with dating with this. I see people try to date, and it's so amazing that they're stepping out of their comfort zone to do it. Because it's like, if you not know what speed dating is, you essentially have mini dates for like 5-minute intervals, and we have hosts. We have like we're super tight on like having a quality experience and not having anyone be a jerk to you. And you rotate, and it's crazy putting yourself out there.
Yeah.
But you also have a marketing dynamic where you have people that are there and you can tell like why is X, Y, and Z here, right? But then some people are super understanding with like, hey, that's very sweet and it's good. So yeah, it's a really fine balance. And one thing we've really tried to look into is wanting to have an event that maybe was geared more towards neurodivergency, but how do you do that respectfully, right? Like you have like the platforms like with Netflix, like Love on the Spectrum, that's amazing, right? But at surface level, like there's the marketing to that because, but in the sweet way, right? I think they do it well from the clips I've seen from my wife watching it, but how do you do that on a local scale, right? You don't want to box someone in that might have a certain level of spectrum, like, oh, you can't go to the regular events, but you want people to feel comfortable in that space, and then you have some credibility with maybe a nonprofit or organization that's working with that. So those are some interesting things more recently we're trying to work on.
That's pretty cool. Yeah, that's really cool. Right, because how do you don't want to exclude people from any event, but you want to include the people who might otherwise feel it's challenging.
Like, do you have them like secretly say or on that thing when they're signing up or something that they are, and then so that you can sort of take that and do something, make a group off that and be like, hey, if there's, I don't know, if you can get
here's a question. So I'm curious for you too. So if you saw that on a forum, would you take that as like, oh wow, I'd feel seen, or like you would take
I'd probably I'd probably check it off, like if it was just on a forum saying, like if I went to a speed dating thing, because I probably honestly would do that. I'm sitting here like, I would probably do that. Why is there anything like that here? What the heck?
Yeah, I would too.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's really
I don't know.
interesting. It's one of those where it honestly was just sort of like dumb luck of like, all right, we'll try one event and we used paper, it was basic and we didn't implode. And I'm like, okay, that's cool.
Yeah.
Because people said like this was better than any other place at this bar. It
Ugh.
was in the Albany area, Albany, New York, that didn't have an issue. So I was like, okay, great. Well, we
Hmm.
have a method here. And then we
Yeah.
realized, like, you know, every little thing improved, right? We would have a technical, or not technical, but issue moving people around, right? Like, it's
Right.
not like adult daycare, just rotating people. Like, that's an art form. And then you realize, like, is there software that exists? So we dug
Hmm.
crates, and there isn't a lot, but there was one company up in Montreal that does it. So, like, okay, we'll use that software.
That's
And then
cool.
that software, while it's useful, does have its shortcomings. So we've had
Sure.
technical glitches, and you
Hmm.
know, a lot of people don't, they're short patience, and so they're,
Yeah.
I've had events that we've made, let's say, like a 4-digit profit,
Hmm.
and then we've had ones where we lost $1,000.
Yeah.
I've seen the good and bad of it all, but you
Yeah.
grow through that and master it. And then
Yeah.
really what I think makes us succeed from others to like help anyone who's going to dating at any level of nervousness or anxiety is having good people host, right? It's
Yeah.
just having people that really, it's such a people business. And I really have seen that being super helpful to have people come back and see like, hey, you know what, like I'm going to be accepted regardless who I am, from
Yeah.
age,
Yeah.
faith, sexuality, like
Yeah.
your
That's
like
cool.
clarity overall.
Yeah, that's awesome. I love that idea. Yeah, I would check it off too. My guess, you probably would know this better than me for sure, but my guess would be that you might likely find an older, depending on the demographic coming, right? Like I would, my guess would be that an older demographic would probably be more okay with giving that information than a younger, but I could be totally
Yeah.
wrong about that. I honestly have no idea. It's just my feeling, knowing, like, using myself as an example. Like I'd probably be cooler with telling you now than I was if I had known, when I was younger.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
Right? So many
Right.
questions now.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, definitely. I thought that would be it'd be a good piece to explain that, I think, for the dynamic of having
Yeah.
that from a business side, but also my personal journey and trying to
Yeah.
reflect my like identity